All right, so Refugee Community Co-Sponsorship. So this is the new program that CCS is launching, and it is a program that exists across multiple different resettlement agencies throughout the country. So tonight we're going to be learning a bit more about what this new model is of refugee resettlement, the different levels of involvement, so that you have more information that you could take back to anybody in your community, whether that's a faith-based organization or non-faith based, and how to move forward. So, in order to understand what this new model is, it's good to kind of just cover what refugee resettlement in the United States looks like. So, historically, refugees could only be resettled into the United States with the help of a national resettlement agency. So there are 10 of those. And if you're curious, Catholic Community Services falls under the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops. So as a refugee, you would be assigned to one of these 10 resettlement agencies, and then they would assign you to their local support centers. Um, the other way that refugees can now come to the United States, which is a new way, is through this program called Welcome Corps. So Welcome Corps is a new program that was launched by the U.S. State Department in 2023. And the main reason they launched it is because there is such a great need for refugees to be resettled. This was a way that private US citizens could sponsor a refugee to come to the United States. So it's completely disconnected from the local resettlement agency. And the US citizen is basically taking responsibility for the full integration of the new refugee into their community, which does come with a cash and in kind requirement. And you do sign legal documents kind of saying, that you are responsible for this person financially until so and so day. So that's what Welcome Corps is. And then we covered what refugee resettlement traditionally looks like. So the reason that I cover these is because community co-sponsorship is a unique way that we're combining both of these. So the community co-sponsor model works still with a resettlement agency. So the clients still come through CCS and they are our clients and we are serving them. What the co-sponsor community does is it connects them to community members at different levels so that they can help them integrate into the process. So the resettlement agency will still be responsible for all the core services and ensuring that they are getting to the client, but those can be directly or by delegating them to the co-sponsor group. So the co-sponsor core group is then responsible for 8 of 16 core services, I believe. 8 for sure, but I'm just the 16 number. There might be a little bit more, a little bit less. And then I have levels. So the co-sponsor care core is the core group. That's we'll dive deeper. And then below that, we have the co-sponsor care group and the co-sponsor community. Both of these in one way or another are supporting the clients, but it's more indirect in that the care group is others in their community who are supporting the core, right? So if I'm a core member and my responsibility, for example, is to find housing, I would then look at my own network and say, you're my friend. Do you want to participate at the care level and maybe help me find housing resources? So instead of directly working with the client, they're supporting you to support the client. I hope that makes sense. We'll cover it a little bit more a little bit later. And then we have the co-sponsor community, and this involves a larger community, and they assist mostly just by donating in kind or financially. So here's that core again. So if we can kind of vision, you can envision the earth. So the different levels of the earth. So we have the core. So the core layer is the co-sponsoring group. They're the main group members. So this is 5 to 7 community members. They will go through the full onboarding volunteer process. So that includes a background check, which some of you may be volunteers already with us. If so, all of that would apply. And then there will be additional training to make sure that you understand what these core services are. We actually were asked to launch this program a while back, and we did not want to because we didn't feel that there were enough resources. But there have been so many new resources developed from national partners of ours that we are able to utilize. And that makes us feel more confident to delegate some of these core services instead of community members feeling overwhelmed. So I hope you take some solace in that if you're thinking about participating. So the core group is going to be working directly with our resettlement staff. And if you're familiar with our family mentor program, similar to the way that you have access to all of our staff members' information, you would have the same information as a co-sponsor core member. You'll be regularly interacting with clients, and I apologize for that typo. And yeah, so really you're the solid members, and then there's the 8 core responsibilities that you're responsible for. So again, you're responsible for making sure these are taken care of, but you still have CCS as the resettlement agency, who at the end of the day is going to double check that things have been taken care of and jump in where and when needed. So what are these 8 responsibilities? The first is housing. So overall, the group will search for and secure affordable housing, which we do know is difficult. We have 2 people on our housing team who are regularly interacting with landlords to find affordable housing. And we've already spoken with them, and they are happy to be a resource and to help guide you in finding housing for the client that you are matched with. Other things that you would do is much as you would do for yourself if you're looking for housing or looking for a new apartment to rent, using online tools to search options, or asking landlords that you may know yourself if they have units available, and potentially even asking them if they're willing to donate those units for a few months while the client is seeking employment. So these are all different ways that you could participate to find housing. The second core service is going to be furnishing. So just to kind of mention, CCS for all of our clients handles all of the core services. It would be, if you are going to participate as a co-sponsor, it would be for one client family, and you would know who they are before they arrive. So in that way, all of this can be done the weeks leading up to their arrival. To make sure that things are taken care of. So that way it's different than many of our volunteer opportunities that we have at CCS right now in resettlement, because those match you with a client after their arrival. But with co-sponsorship, you are involved from even before they arrive in Salt Lake. So furnishing the apartment, you can either collect donations or purchase the furniture for the apartment. And this is where that community comes into play, where you can go to your community and say, hey, we're welcoming a new refugee family. If you have any gently used items for the home, we're happy to accept those as a donation. Or shopping at local thrift stores to find furnishings for the home. And then you would work with us and our share house team to make sure that if there are any items missing, that we can help get those to you and help set up the apartment. So that would be the second service. The third core responsibility is to purchase initial groceries to place in the family's home before their arrival. So different ways that you guys can do this and do a good job of it is being culturally sensitive and identifying different international markets that carry the cuisine and the food items that clients from other countries are accustomed to or are required to eat for religious purposes, such as halal food for our Muslim clients. Other things you can do is locate discount grocery stores. So these are just some ideas of, how to do it and what it looks like. Um, and the initial groceries, again, we are providing to all of our clients right now who don't have co-sponsors. And we have culturally sensitive and culturally appropriate grocery lists that we would give to you. So, really, again, this is an information session just to give you a broad view of what this new program is. But of course, we are there for every step of the way with resources, um, through text message, through however you need us to be supportive. And the other piece that I will mention is initial groceries. The reason we say initial groceries is because CCS's case managers in our resettlement department will apply for supplemental nutrition assistance program, which was also known as food stamps. So clients can then purchase their own groceries with that benefit. Number 4 is arrival meal. So again, and I honestly think this is kind of helpful for people who are looking to learn about resettlement. We are required to do every one of these plus additional things for every single one of the cases we receive. So it kind of goes to show, or kind of gives you some background or knowledge of why our case management staff is so busy. So the arrival meal, what that is just a warm meal that is culturally appropriate. So most likely from a restaurant of the same country that that client is from, or a neighboring country. So you would purchase that and make sure it's at the home for the clients to eat, and obviously that it doesn't sit long, or that it is something that they could warm up, and teaching them how to warm that up because it is possible that they haven't used a microwave in the past. The next thing we have is English learning. As you can imagine, coming to a new country, some of our clients, they do speak English, but the majority do not, and not speaking English is a huge barrier to becoming self-sufficient, which is the goal of any resettlement agency, as it is for CCS. So the English learning requirement is that the core group members enroll all adult clients in an ESL class. So there are many ESL classes in the area. We have a list of what is available, and we have contacts, but ESL is one of those areas that no matter how many classes are offered, they're always getting filled up because there's such a great need for adult learning in English. Other things that you would do in this area is reinforce the language lessons, by practicing English with the family that you're working with, and also maybe helping teach English yourself. If a member of your core group has been a teacher in the past or even has taught ESL, it's a perfect opportunity to utilize those skills to help the clients learn English. Next, we have seasonal clothing. So this requirement is just ensuring that the clients are being provided clothing that is going to meet that season's needs. For example, we're here in Utah, fall is approaching and winter will be here sooner than we know it. We make sure that our clients have coats and shoes. We often will give clients vouchers to Deseret Industries for them to purchase these. But as a co-sponsor group, you would be purchasing this affordable clothing or receiving donations. Donations are a little bit more difficult, because we do know the ages and genders of the clients who are coming, but we don't know their size. So that makes it a little bit difficult. You can also get it once they arrive. So there's different ways that you can do that. But it's important to check in with the family and ask them what kinds of clothes they may need instead of, assuming that they do or don't need something. And then teaching them. That's another huge part of co-sponsorship, is that you're teaching them about their new community, much as our family mentors do, teaching them about their new community, how to access resources, the difference between a low-cost retailer and shopping at the mall. Number seven is transportation. So the transportation provision is that the co-sponsoring group will provide transportation to the family in the early days of resettlement and teach them how to access public transportation on their own. That way they have a sustainable means of transportation if the co-sponsoring group is not available. And the co-sponsoring group, they're there for the initial resettlement. We want to still do everything to encourage self-sufficiency because you really are there just for these initial steps. And then later on, you're participating in a role that our family mentors do. That's checking in on smaller things here and there and not being with the family multiple days a week. Maybe it goes down to 1 or 2 days a week after the first 90 days. Um, the piece on this, I will also mention, Match Grant is a program that we enroll many of our clients in, and it's an employment program in that the clients, in exchange for them being willing and able to work and working with our job developers, we do provide UTA transportation passes so that they can access public transportation. And we do also, that also covers rent for a few months. And then finally, cultural orientation. So cultural orientation is a massive undertaking, but you are not alone in it. And we actually have an adult education specialist on staff, and her entire job is to teach cultural orientation. So she has all of the resources that you would need in all of the languages that you may need. And you would basically work with her to deliver cultural orientation to the clients in their home. So honestly, I think this is great. Cultural orientation is typically done in a large class setting, and doing it one-on-one may provide more opportunity and more comfort for clients to ask questions. Um, and if you choose to become a community co-sponsor, again, we will have training, but just a few tips here at the beginning is, reinforcing the topics that are covered is really important for self-sufficiency and also ensuring gender equity. And one way you can do that is by offering to watch the children while the adults attend cultural orientation. So those are the 8 core services that co-sponsor groups take responsibility for. Now we're going to cover the co-sponsor care. I know I was covering it a little bit there at the beginning, but taking a step back and looking at it again, we covered the core and those 8 responsibilities. Co-sponsor care, the way that I envision it is support for the core. So it's the middle layer. So they're not connected to the clients. They're not directly interacting with them. Instead, they're directly interacting with the core group. So they're supporting them to support the clients. This is a great option for people who either don't have the time or would just like to handle stuff that's kind of more behind the scenes. Um, and it's typically groups of 5 to 10 people. And then finally, we have the co-sponsor community. And this is why this opportunity is so unique because we know that family mentoring and the level of involvement that we ask of our volunteers isn't for everyone. This program offers a way for community members who are interested in welcoming refugees to participate in it and know exactly where, who, when, and all of these things, and just feel some bit of a connection to the refugees who we are welcoming to our communities. So this is the outermost layer of the co-sponsor network, and it can be up to 250 community members. And these people are participating in the donating, hosting, gathering groups of people to create a hygiene item for each family member, or sleeping, making sure that they have everything for the bed. There's so many different things that need to be donated, so you can really involve a large group of people to participate in this way. And again, they also do not interact directly with the clients. Again, for some people who want to be involved but don't have the time for any more support. And we're getting here to the end of this information session. I just wanted to kind of finish on this note with this quote, which I think is beautiful and really rings true to what many people who want to be community co-sponsors feel. It is the obligation of every person born in a safer room to open the door when someone in danger knocks. And I think that's what a lot of you here tonight feel. The You feel safe, you feel a privilege, you're able to live a comfortable life, hopefully, and you want to be able to offer something to others. So I am happy to take any questions that you guys may have. But yeah, that is all I have for tonight. I hope this informs you a little bit more. And I will go ahead and stop the presentation so that you may ask your questions. Oops.
I have a question.
Yes.
So what are the